YouTube. I thought it would be interesting to answer some questions about me as I paint. So I pulled up Chat GPT and they have a lot of questions. So let's begin with the painting. I think I will paint some moths. I don't know. I'm still thinking what I want to paint. Setting up my color palette here. Just putting some random colors in case I need to mix anything. Okay. The first question is, what's your name or nickname people call you? My English name is Anne. I call myself Anne when I went to uni because a lot of people could not pronounce my name properly. I'm really afraid to start on a blank piece of nice paper. And I'm just gonna go for it. This is so risky. But my actual name is Yi-Jin. It's a Chinese name. And in my family, they sometimes call me Zhen Zhen. I feel so funny saying this. But because I'm the younger sister in the family, I also get called Mei a lot. I don't know how this moth is gonna go. What else? Oh, I have this pet peeve of when people call me Annie because my English name that I gave myself has no IE, it's just ANNE, and it reminds me of the movie Orphan Annie, so that kind of the strange little pet peeve I have. Okay, this moth is not mothing, but I'm gonna do my best anyway. Okay, next question. Where did you grow up? I was born in Singapore, but when I was 7 to 9 years old, I lived in China for 3.5 years, in Shanghai. And then I came back to Singapore and did my studies here, which was really stressful. Then I went to Melbourne, Australia to do my university and foundation studies. So like the typical Singapore route is you do JC or Polytechnic to get into university, but I did the foundation year in Australia. else? Yeah, and I've traveled quite a bit. This year not so much. I'm not traveling this year, I think. But I've traveled quite a bit. But yeah, that answers the question of where I grew up. Okay. Third question. When did you first start painting? Probably in school. I don't exactly remember when I first started painting, but I remember ever since I was like in kindergarten that I wanted to be an artist. That was like my very first dream. I wanted to be an artist, and I first started with acrylic paints when I started painting, and then I discovered oil paints when I moved back to Singapore. Okay, this moth is kind of fun because there's like all these shapes I can play with. And now I'm doing acrylic gouache, so it's new. But acrylic gouache allows me to paint at home because oil painting will get too messy and I need more space. Who or what inspired you to become an artist? I think I just always like drawing and painting. I used to draw more than I paint, but these days I don't really draw. But one of my inspirations would be Salvador Dali. He does surrealism, so his style of work inspired me to be more free when I paint. And of course, I also like Monet. I think, yeah. And there was a watercolor artist called Agnes Cecil that I stumbled across, and I also stumbled across another artist in a storybook. The book is called Wherever Nina Lies, but I don't quite remember the artist's name. So yeah, there are a few people who inspire me, and I follow people on Instagram. So they're like people who are famous on IG, like this artist called Audra or Claire. She does fantasy art and she does it really well. And Sarah, I forgot her full name, but her name is Sasa, and she paints and draws really nicely. Okay, next question. What's your favorite subject to paint? I think when I first started painting, I tried to paint as if I was rendering the image to look like a photograph, so like portraits. Then I grew tired of portraits because it takes like a lot of precision. And these days I mainly paint whimsical stuff. I think I call it abstract because that's how people can understand it, but I don't think it's exactly abstract based on what I know. I'm not very good at landscapes. I might try landscapes sometime, but I don't think anytime soon. Because I like to do like fun stuff. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing with the moth. Okay, question 6. Do you remember the first painting or drawing you ever made? I don't, but I have an interesting story that when I was a kid and we were on a plane to, I believe it was Perth, this old lady on the plane saw that I was drawing, and I think she thought it was cute and she drew a portrait of me. But I was a kid, so I lost the portrait, but like, that's such a sweet memory to have. And I also drew Millie, Molly, Mandy at one point when I was living in China, and I was reading like so many books as a kid. And I think there were people around me who saw that they felt that I had a strength in art, and so that has been very nice and encouraging. But of course, when you're a kid, you just draw the usual stuff, like the sun in the corner and then a house in the middle. But I feel like it's important to experiment and paint. Like right now, since I'm fun employed, I have the time to experiment and push myself to see how far I can go. 7. What's your favorite color to paint with and why? I think turquoise teal. Turquoise teal. But my actual favorite color in real life would be purple. So, as you can see, I'm using a lot of the blues and the turquoise in this painting. Yeah. So that shows. Do you paint every day or only when inspiration strikes? I think when I'm in a good place, I do paint every day. And if I have space and the time and the resources, I do. But I think this year there was a period of time where I just didn't want to paint at all. Like, I usually do oil paintings. And I just didn't paint at all. And I told myself to just don't touch the paint until I feel inspired. Because I don't want to feel like I'm being forced to do something. And I don't want to associate negative feelings with painting. So what's the hardest part of painting for you? Hardest part of painting. I think this acrylic gouache and pure gouache, like actual gouache, is so freaking difficult. And I really have to like learn all over again. But I'm loving the novelty of it. And I love that I can just paint at home and on my desk. Question 10. What's the most rewarding part of painting? I think when people say they see different things in my painting, then I feel like I've done a good job at something wacky and abstract. And I think most rewarding is when I can create a tangible product, like a keychain or something. Or if the actual art is good itself, I don't need the outside validation. I just feel good about it, you know? I don't know if I like this moth, but it's kind of fun to be documenting like every sketch or draft or artwork that I do. Question 11. Do you prefer painting in silence or with music podcasts in the background? Usually I paint with YouTube talking videos, like the one I'm doing now in the background, which, you know, so now you know what has inspired my video. I do believe in astrology, and in astrology I have a Gemini rising, so that makes me someone who wants to communicate and is communicative. And on top of that, I'm an Aquarius, which is an air sign. Yeah, I'm probably losing a lot of you here now, so I probably have to go back to the usual questions. What's your go-to art supply you can't live without? Oh, I think now my acrylic gouache and oil paints. Yeah. Oh, that's a nice tail. And small brushes. I only like to use small brushes because the reason why is because it's more detailed, but also because I'm so fast that a small brush would force me to slow down. Have you ever had a failed artwork you ended up loving later? I have so many failed artworks that I don't know if I love. I'm not sure if I can show it now because it's just in a pile. But yeah, maybe one day I might do a failed artwork video. Do you sell art or keep it mostly personal? I think initially I wanted to keep it, but I realized that it's taking too much space, and I'm happy to let go of my original artworks. Just that shipping is troublesome, so I would have to only sell within Singapore for original art pieces. But now I'm thinking I can sell the gouache too because it's a flat piece of paper. So we'll see. What other hobbies or creative outlets do you have besides painting? I love to sing. I have a Spotify on my main account. Shameless plug there. I used to do horse riding, but I got injured and now I have back condition, so... But if I had the choice, I would love to go back to horse riding, just that with my health, now is not the time to think about it. I'm not really sure what to do with the moth. Maybe if I just put the yellow in the gaps, would that be enough? It looks like stained glass. What other hobbies? Singing, yeah, covered that. I used to play tennis as well. I used to be really fit, but now I'm no longer. I'm an old lady at heart. I like to go for social activities sometimes, but I'm actually very introverted, so those things can make me feel tired. Okay, what's one dream project you love to work on? I think if someone ever asked me to do a mural, and I know it's gonna be there for a while, I would willingly do it. Mural, yeah, mural. What's your favorite artist's life or history? Yeah, I think I covered that in terms of the inspiration. I can go to the next question. Do you see painting as more of a hobby, a career, or a form of therapy? I think all of it. But I don't really post everything that I paint. And I definitely see it as a form of art therapy. Yesterday was the first time I got the gouache, not acrylic gouache. And I basically just painted as if it was an art therapy session. Just confident strokes, not really creating anything serious, you know. This moth looks like a tennis ball. Okay, let me find the next question. What's one piece of advice you give for beginner artists? I think a lot of people will say that you have to reference other artists. I think that works, but even if you reference, you kind of need to make it your own. And I think what helps is knowing what colors you like and knowing whether you like cool tone or warm tone, because that will inform the color decisions in your art. Like if you like warm tone, you use yellow or an orangey yellow, but if you like cool tone, you use white. I'm just using yellow here because it feels right, but I'm usually a cool tone girly, but this yellow is not so warm, so it's not an issue. And I can always cover up the paint if I don't like it. Okay, this moth actually turned out slightly nicer than I expected it to. Okay, where do you hope your art takes you in the future? I hope I can sell like original art pieces and just keep going, but I think YouTube is something I want to try. I do have a YouTube for my singing account, but I hardly post that anymore. So yeah, and that was 20 questions of me. I hope that answered some of your, if you had any questions. I don't think anybody has questions for me at this point. So I hope it was just an entertaining video, and I will see you.